Everyone, my name is Saili Dev, number 009, and the topic of my project is USB Pratirodh. So let us start with the introduction. What is USB Pratirodh? As the name suggests, it is a software solution provided by CDAC which controls unauthorized usage of removable storage media. The devices that fall under this category are USB pen drives, external hard disks, SD card readers, mobile phone USBs, and so on. USB Pratirodh can be used in scenarios where multiple removable storage devices need to be accessed by the host on a daily basis, for example in cyber cafes. Another example is when a single company desktop is used by many employees routinely. This software basically provides a layer of authentication as well as access control, as we will see further. Let's look at the features of USB Pratirodh. Okay, so the first feature is device management. Basically, whenever we want to use any USB device, we'll have to first register it with USB Pratirodh's interface. Here we have a field known as device ID, where automatically whenever you will connect a device and register, when you will wish to register it, the ID will appear. You can provide a short description, and from a list of existing users which are registered with USB Pratirodh, you can allow specific users to access that device only. There's also a mode where you can use that device only in the read-only mode, so that the content of the device is not modified. The second feature is user management. Basically, we can add multiple users with USB Pratirodh, and we can map specific users to specific devices, so that only the users which are in the mapped database can use that particular device. So everybody can't use everything, and access control is maintained. Also, USB Pratirodh provides two different kinds of password at the time of installation. One is the user password and one is the administrator password. So basically, the previous feature, that is device management, as well as this feature, that is user management, these all can be accessed only through the administrator authentication, whereas the individual objects, that is the USB devices, they can be accessed with the user password, which is generated at the time of installation itself. So as we can see in the picture, we can add and remove users very easily. We can also remove the mapping of that user with the individual USB device, and in the device manager we can add the particular device. The next feature is secure storage. Using this feature, we can encrypt files on our USB devices. This provides confidentiality to the documents. The last feature is malware detection. Whenever a new device is connected to your system, it is first scanned completely for the presence of any malwares which can potentially reside into your system and can harm the system completely. If anything like that is present, it is reported to you using the report, which can be saved to a file. It also tells you which files can be potentially quarantined in order to access the other files on the device. Now let's move on to the demonstration of USB Pratirodh. Okay. So we are seeing the administrator console of USB Pratirodh. Here I am going to log in using my administrator credentials, without which I cannot access the various features. The password is a strong multi-character password which is of 8 characters. So login is successful, and now I am able to access all the other features such as account options, user manager, device manager, and logs. So let's move on to the user manager. Here we can see a list of existing users. I can very easily remove users, for example like this, and just as easily I can add new users into my registry. As you can see, currently we don't have any devices as such. In the device manager, But now let me just connect my mouse so it will detect. Okay, so this is a new device. Do you want to register? Yes, the device ID has appeared. I will provide a small description, and also as you can see to the right there is a list of existing users. So if I tick on Varad and Sai for the moment, it means I'm granting them the access of the HP mouse, and now registration is successful. Okay, now I have disconnected my mouse and I'm using my touchpad, but I'm connecting my mouse back again. Okay, so just on connecting, the USB Pratirodh is asking me for login, without which I can't use my mouse. And by the way, these two are different consoles. The one on the right is the user login for mouse access, and the one on the left is the administrator console. So let's log in the user login in order to use the mouse. As I have done in the previous slide, I have mapped mouse with the user Varad, so I'm going to log in with his credentials. The password is different from the administrator password, and login is successful, and I think yes, I'm able to use my mouse freely. So now I'm going to the accounts. Okay, now I'm going to log in using Varad and the user password, just to see if in the administrator console, if I use the user password, what options can I access. So login is showing successful, but currently I can only access the account options. The user manager I'm not having permission to access, as this is an administration feature. Same goes for the device manager and even the logs. I don't have access to these three, just the account options where I can change my password. That's it. Okay, so here I have connected my USB device and it is detected, and it is asking me if I want to register it with the existing users. So I've clicked yes, and the device ID has appeared. Now I'm going to write a small description. That is this is my SanDisk USB. After this, this is a read-only mode, but I'm not going to check it for now. And yes, on the right side there's the existing users, so I'm going to grant only Varad the access of this, and the registration is successful. The device can now be used by Varad. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign out from my administrator login, and now I can see this USB device over here. I currently still have the access because I had signed in as the admin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this USB drive. Okay, so I'm going to eject it. So okay, let's see. Yes, eject. I'm going to eject it anyways, so let's just continue, and done. Okay, so now it is removed. Now I'm going to plug in back, so to see if only Varad has the access. And yes, now I've plugged in. It is asking me for the user login. So now I had granted Varad the access. So let's log in using Varad's credentials. So this password is the user password generated at the time of installation of USB drive. And here we go. As soon as the USB drive is registered, the malware scanner has started doing its job, and as we can see, it has scanned 7 files and 0 threats are detected. So let's open the drive, and here we go. These are the contents of my USB. This Decrypto USB-P application is by default stored by USB Pratirodh itself for decryption purposes, which we will see later. So here I'm going to show the encryption decryption feature. As you can see, there is no text file present in my USB, and what I'm going to do is in my other folder I have a small text file. Yes, so these are the contents of this file. We are going to encrypt this file using USB Pratirodh. So what I'll do is I'll right click, and we have this encryption decryption option. Okay, so here I'm going to enter the username and password, and the target location is the removable disk key, that is my USB, and it will show the store the encrypted file on the USB. So enter pin. This pin is a key which I am providing. Okay, so encryption is done. Now let's move on to the USB drive to see the encrypted file. So here I go, and the file text. If I open it, it's not actually text, it's a USB PDH file. Okay, so I'll open it with Notepad, and yes, this is a ciphertext. So basically it is encrypted so that we can provide confidentiality. So now I'm going to decrypt it and store it on my desktop. So if you can see my desktop, I don't have any files present here. We will store the decrypted text file over there. So again, I'm going to right click, and I am going to provide the credentials. First I'm going to browse the target location and set it to the desktop. Okay, then next I'm going to enter the credentials, and over here the pin is the one that I've provided during encryption. So it is basically the shared key. Okay, so yes, so it is a symmetric key encryption that USB Pratirodh uses. Decryption is done. So now let's move on to the desktop and see how the decrypted file looks like. Okay, so here the file is present, that is a good sign. And yes, I am Saili and pleased to meet you. This is the same plain text that is generated. So this was the encryption decryption feature of USB Pratirodh. So that was it with the demonstration. Now let's look at a few details about USB Pratirodh that I would like to make a note of. Firstly, the pros. It is an extremely user-friendly tool with a very simple and easy to understand interface. Secondly, the centralized control provided through the administrator console is very secure and efficient for management of the various devices. Lastly, encryption and decryption of files is a very important feature and is extremely quick and straightforward for usage. Now for the drawbacks of this software, there is no session management as such. That is, if a user has logged in with his USB, for example, so there is no option for him to log out. Thus, if someone uses his USB later on behind his back, USB Pratirodh does not deny him access, and thus other people other than the genuine user of that USB can access the USB later. Also, if we have logged into a device and shut down the system, once the system is powered on again, the state of the system is maintained as it was before shutting down. Thus, it is possible that malicious users can use the system after the system has shut down by the genuine user, as there is no functionality of logging out. This was a major drawback that was observed in USB Pratirodh. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you all for listening.